All Pro Broadcasting with
Freedom Train.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, iRacing fans from around the world, welcome to another live broadcast brought to you by All Pro Broadcasting Network. I am Scott Kolovic, your announcer for the evening. We've got Michael D'Amico out there working those cams. And these drivers tonight, they're going to be working this 2.66 mile speedway here at Talladega. This is race 4 of the Friday night series, Friday Night Flights, FNF, Friday Night Fun, race 4. Now, ladies and gentlemen, there are no points on the line tonight. These guys are just getting out here on this 20-week series to raise a little hell and have a little fun. We're running the big tracks out here. We're doing a little bit of Texas, a little bit of Talladega, Daytona, and Atlanta and some Michigan here. But tonight it is all about Talladega at this 2.66 mile speedway. Tonight it is a throwback to yesteryear, driving the Chevy Impala Old Class B. That is the 2011 edition of the Chevy Impala. Not quite as powerful as the new Gen 6s we have out. A little bit less than what we find in the Xfinity class and a little bit more than in the truck class. But tonight, it is all out the throwback 2011 Old Class B Chevy Impala. Now, this series is brought to you by some very special people out here. Richard Brose with Richie B's Pizza has joined forces with Greg McClendon and Blaze Pizza and Jason Russo of Pro Automotive, our Monday and Tuesday night sponsors, joining up with Blaze Pizza to bring you Friday Night Flights, as well as a whole bunch of other individual sponsors. And I tell you what, folks, that is a great thing when these drivers and these sponsors all come together, unite as a group to pay for a 20-week series. Good stuff coming to you tonight from Talladega, Alabama. Now, speaking of our sponsors and those that did make this happen tonight out here, we do have Richie B tonight in his normal 07. Big shout out to Richie B. Also, the number 14 of Jason Russo. He'll be out here driving his Pro Automotive Chevy Silverado. And the number 40 of Greg McClendon, Blaze Pizza. And that is really cool right there. All these drivers have their preferred numbers, the 40 and the 14 and the 07. So that's pretty cool stuff right there. Another driver out here tonight is Mark Jackson, number 35 tonight. Did not get his preferred number. We usually know Mark Jackson as the number 3, but tonight he is the number 35. Well, we'll see what he can do with that. Steve Duke's joining us out here tonight as well, the number 25. Well, that's a mix-up. Usually he's out here in the number 48. But we have got Rob Haynes driving his normal number 68 and Michael Johnson in the 004. Now, speaking of Michael Johnson, very closely involved into PAD, People Against Distracted Driving. Now, KMA and APB on the first Sunday of every month do bring you the monthly Race for PAD Awareness, and that is 100 laps at Talladega in the Silverados and Tundras, and that is the first Sunday of every month. Racing for PAD, People Against Distracted Driving, and you can find more information about PAD at padd.org. Another shout out to John Hedrick and Over the Top Paints and Designs. Now, a lot of these paint jobs you'll see out here tonight were done by the guys over at Over the Top Paints and Designs, Jason Covington, Billy Wise, and John Hedrick, keeping these drivers looking pretty. But the responsibility of the drivers tonight is to keep those cars looking pretty. Now, the generosity of the officials has run out this week, and these drivers have been dropped down to one reset. So what that means, you get the keys to your car, you started out there, and if something happens to you, whether it's your fault or the other driver's fault, well, you're handed one more set of keys. Now, if something happens to that one, you're done, you're parked, you're taking it back to the hauler, and you just have to wait until the next race. So what that is going to do, folks, that is going to get these drivers to be a little bit more aware, a little bit less on the 3 wide in the early laps. We had a trial run with this last night at Daytona, and these drivers did a great job. Only 5 cautions. Later one to seal the deal, so we'll call it 4.5. Did a lot better job of holding it down and not quite being so anxious to get up there to the front. Taking a look at our qualifying field, grid sponsor tonight, PADD, People Against Distracted Driving. Out there on that number 1 position is the number 35 of Mark Jackson, side by side with the number 24 of Everett Lane. Everett Lane running with Fast Lane Racing. In the number 20, 3rd position, we have Ryan Kuhn, side by side with the number 81 of Chad Roy. The number 33, Dustin Markham, holding down that P4 slot. And the number 40 of Greg McClendon, number 33 of Dustin Markham in P5, and the number 40 of Greg McClendon sitting in position 6. The number 78 of Donald Stewart in P7. And the number 7 of David Washington, position 8. Big shout out to our replay sponsor, currently sitting in position 9, the number 5 of Gary Whitmer Jr. Big shout out there to Mom Whitmer and Dad Whitmer out there watching on the All Pro Broadcasting chat channel. Rounding out the top 10 is the number 3 of James Lehman. Number 25, Steve Dutz in position 11. 66, Edward Bray in position 12. One of our sponsors, the number 14 of Jason Russo, sitting in P13. And the number 10 of Judd Danielson, position 14. Big shout out to Domino's TYJ Wednesdays and Thursdays with APB. Judd Danielson, P14. Rounding out the top 15 is the 004 of Michael Johnson. Our other sponsor is 07 of Richard Brose, P16. P17 belonging to Jeff Rins in the number 22. The number 74 of Mark Bowes, rounding out P18. Number 31, Freeman Kelly, position 19. The number 29 of Jody Green, position 20. Number 88 of Jeff Ryan, position 21. And the number 27 of Harry Dodd, choosing not to grid tonight. Number 32, William Prolix, position 23. The number 61 of Brad Ream in position 24. And rounding out in 25th position is the number 76, Ronald Klein. Many other drivers back there. We're going to talk about those as the night does progress. Mark Jackson, Everett Lane, going to be kicking it off here with 100 laps. Mark Jackson, Everett Lane, 2 very strong drivers out here starting tonight. Ryan Kuhn, Chad Roy, taking it up in 3 and 4. Dustin Markham, 5th and 6th. As I did mention one more time, these drivers are limited down to 1 reset. Starts are done on leader's discretion. Once that pace car does go in, these drivers can take it off any point in time they want. Pace car is in. Mark Jackson side by side with Everett. Chad Roy already into the rear end of the number 24 of Everett. expecting them to take the early start. They do not. Mark Jackson holding down. Now they get up and now they go. Mark Jackson waiting for the actual green lights to kick on. It is on leader's discretion, and that is what Mark did decide to do on the inside lane. The number 20, Napa, pushing on the number 35 of Mark Jackson. In tow is the number 33 of Dustin Markham. Interesting position right there as Chad Roy is pressuring down the number 78 of Donald Stewart. Already looking at this 3 wide early on the outside comes the number 7 of David Washington. David Washington get a big boost from James Lehman. James Lehman tonight in the number 3. David Washington doing a very great job out here working with Dave the number 3 of James Lehman. Early 3 wide action here at Talladega. Side by side with David Washington is the number 40, Greg McClendon. Greg McClendon stuck in the middle, hanging on to the rear end of the number 81 of Chad Roy. Still watching that outside combination with David Washington, though now beginning to fall backwards. David Washington losing a little bit of momentum here on lap 2, but sticking with that outside lane. Currently side by side with the number 25 with Steve Dutz and Edward Bray in the number 66. James Lehman abandoning that outside line, abandoning Dave Washington, allowing Dave Washington possibly to come back into that center groove. Alrighty, folks. Well, obviously, David and James Lehman seeing that 3 wide action was not yet going to work. Watching the number 14, though, of Jason Russo head up into that center lane. Jason Russo onto the rear end of the number 66 of Edward Bray, side by side with Richard Brose. Right now, battling mid-pack for positions 10th, 11th, and 12th. Jason Russo all over the rear end of the number 66 of Edward Bray. And one more time, out goes the number 7 of David Washington. Going to be 3 wide position there with Jason Russo. Once again, that outside lane not able to get it. I'll tell you what, folks, this 3 wide action, it is great here at Talladega, but in order for it to work, you have got to be hooked up with your partner. There goes the number 7 again, trying to go 3 wide, but there's too much distance back there between David Washington and James Lehman. James Lehman trying to get up there to the rear end of the number 7, but the momentum is not there. James Lehman, David Washington finally getting contact, starting to move a little bit, but now they are side by side with the number 19 of Donald Sadusky and Jason Russo and Edward Bray. KMA trio working that middle line, but look at David go. Now, I tell you what, folks, if Dave Washington does win tonight, his sponsor, APBN, buys him a new set of Turtle Beach headset. That's pretty cool stuff right there. Dave Washington out here with a lot to work for tonight, getting goals going. I'll tell you what, this is great 3 wide action here with David Washington, James Lehman up on that 3rd lane. Side by side with Edward Bray and Steve Dutz and Jason Russo. And here we're going to go 4 wide as the number 58 is in the way. David having a big checkup. David having a hugely checkup as the number 58. The number 38, I do believe, blocking the pathway. I'll tell you what, folks, the 38 being driven by Jay Dargett, that completely interrupted the path of David Washington and James Lehman. Near catastrophe right there, but what great a job there David Washington did. Very close call to an early caution here early on lap 4. Getting up there to the front of the pack, though, Mark Jackson leading that outside lane, getting a huge push from Everett Lane. Side by side on the inside with Ryan Kuhn and Dustin Markham. Number 78 of Donald Stewart, 3rd car in line on that outside, side by side with the number 81 of Chad Roy. Up here in front, they are tighter than a hair in a biscuit, but all these drivers right now, they are just riding. That is all they want to do right now. They just want to ride, knowing they've only got 1 reset. Up in front, there goes the number 33, Dustin Markham, jumping lanes up into that middle. They're going to be 3 wide. Yes, no, maybe so. But Mark Jackson backing out of that possible 3-wide position. And once again, the number 33 of Dustin Markham changes back down. Well, it seems that all Dustin Markham wanted to do was get around a driver right there, not really wanting to stay out there in that middle lane. And down goes Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson wanting to be the leader of lap 8 as we are coming to it. Everett Lane trying to get a big boost from the number 81 of Chad Roy. Everett and Mark Jackson racing to lead this lap, but jumping back to David Washington one more time. David Washington and James Lehman one more time, trying to make that 3-wide action work early on here on lap 7. Now, this is only my second time ever meeting the gentleman of Dave Washington, but I'll tell you what, this cat knows what he is doing. He is a veteran racer, but once again, that third lane not able to make it work as James Lehman drops to the middle and allows Dave Washington back into the middle. I'm sure they're not going to give up, though. This is only lap 8. They've got 92 more laps to get their way to the front. They're going to be 3 wide as we are looking at the number 27 of Harry Dodd. Harry Dodd falling 1 lap down here on lap 8. Unfortunate break there for Harry Dodd. One more time, there goes David Washington, that outside lane. But right now, James Lehman not wanting to go with him. Richard Brose in the 07 wanting to go to that outside lane. Now it appears that Richard Brose may join the 3-lane trio. Nope, there goes Richie B back down into that center lane. David Washington, James Lehman, once again doing everything they can to make that third lane work. Tight quarter action along with Jason Russo. Coming up on the outside of Edward Bray, the number 66. Edward Bray trying to get up there, give him a little bit of draft help. And I tell you what, folks, what is really interesting about this Talladega track, I did test this one time. Bumper to bumper, door to door, you can actually fit 6 of these cars across that track from the wall down to that yellow line. You heard it right. You can fit 6 of them. We have done 5 wide here. It is a struggle, but it can be done. These drivers right now are very comfortably riding around in a 3-wide position. David Washington getting a big push from James Lehman, but once again, that third lane just not going to be able to make it happen. Jumping up 1 spot to the number 7 of Richard Brose. Hey, big shout out for Richie B. Recently got him a very beautiful brand new Viper, showing pictures of it up there on Facebook. I tell you what, that is some good stuff right there by Richie B, not only with his new car, but with his pizza as well. Big shout out to Richie B for the Monday night series, as he does take Chris Hogue 3 wide. Chris Hogue will fall lap down as well. Richie B in the 07 currently sitting in position 15 as he is just hanging out behind the number 19 of Donald Stewart. Donald Sadusky tonight in the number 19. 1 position forward, and to the left is the number 5 of Gary Whitmer Jr. GW Graphics, our replay sponsor. Gary Whitmer driving the red and black KMA Attack tonight. Big shout out there to Becky Whitmer. Becky Whitmer always out here supporting on not only all these drivers, but especially her son, GW Graphics. Now, if you check him out on Facebook, folks, he has put up a lot of the commercials that we use. He is the official videographer for KMA Racing, pad videos, special awareness videos. Big shout out to GW Graphics and the number 5 of Gary Whitmer as they take the 004 of Michael Johnson. He will fall 1 lap down as well. Richard Brose wanting a little bit more of that 3 wide action. Richard Brose going up. Going to get a little bit of a push there from the number 7. The number 7 of David Washington. The number 7 will be pushing the 07 of Richie B. Donald Sadusky looking like he might want to bite onto that 3-wide action, and he does. Richard Brose going to give a push to Donald Sadusky. David Washington bringing up the rear end of that trio on that 3 line on that high side. Donald Sadusky, 3-wide position with Edward Bray and Gary Whitmer. Getting some help from Richard Brose. We are on lap 13. We have had 8 lead changes. Great racing out here at Talladega as Donald Sadusky is now 3-wide with Edward Bray and Donald Stewart. Donald Sadusky very close onto that right side of that number 66. Knowing it, getting back up that track just a little bit. Now the purpose of that, ladies and gentlemen, the closer you are, the faster you go. Right there watching Donald Sadusky trying to get a little bit of side draft off that middle lane as he's side by side with David Washington. But once again, that 3rd lane completely falling apart. Donald Sadusky with a little bobble onto the number 3 of James Lehman. Good recovery. Donald Sadusky and Richard Brose losing several positions right there. They just cannot get them lined up. Jumping up back to the front for our race leader, Everett Lane. Everett Lane in the number 24 running with Fast Lane Racing on that inside lane. Getting a push from Mark Jackson side by side with the number 33 of Dustin Markham and the number 81 of Chad Roy. Everett, Dustin, Mark and Chad, positions 1, 2, 3, 4. Ryan Kuhn in the number 20, 3rd car on that inside lane. Ryan Kuhn winning. Caution is out, ladies and gentlemen. Looking at the number 29. We're going to back that up, take a look at that on our All-Pro Broadcasting replay. And we had some 4-wide action, ladies and gentlemen, with the number 61. The number 61 of Brad Ream in that 4-wide action. But that is not what brought out the caution. The caution was brought out as the number 19 of Donald Sadusky. Donald Sadusky appearing to get up into the right side of David Washington. Going to back that up and check that out to make sure, folks, that will be our first caution, as indeed it does appear the number 19 of Donald Sadusky drifting up into the number 7 of David Washington. Unfortunate break for David Washington. I tell you what, he's going to get that car back into pit road, but I am pretty sure that will be one of his resets. Several drivers out there getting caught up into our first caution. Unfortunate break for David Washington, though. Heavy hitter out here for tonight, but that will bring out our first caution of the night. Now, interesting situation for the leaders here. These drivers are on about a 30-lap fuel load. So we're going to keep cameras on Everett Lane and Mark Jackson, and we're going to see if Everett and Mark go into pit row, or if they're going to put that pit row strategy into effect very early. And indeed, Everett Lane and Mark Jackson heading off into pit row. Now here at Talladega, there's a common misbelief that tires are not a factor. I know several drivers that do not believe in taking tires here at Talladega, and I tell them every time, let me know how it works out as you do blow. Everett Lane, Mark Jackson, just taking left sides though. Interesting little situation there by Everett and Mark. But I tell you what, taking those right side tires would have cost them possibly upwards of 4 to 5 more positions. Right now, Mark and Everett more concerned with staying out in front than the possible risk of a blown tire. Let's get Mark up here in the booth, and we're going to talk to Mark Jackson. How about it, Mark Jackson? Have you got a copy, sir?
Hey, Scott.
How are you doing out here tonight, brother?
Man, we're having fun up here. Just trying to stay out of trouble for now.
All righty, copy that. Now talk to us about your pit stop. Did I miss you taking 4 tires, or did you just take 2?
Yeah, we took left sides on that run. We tested this car the other night, and seemed could get two left sides faster on pit road if you're just going to take two. So managed to stay up front here. I think track position will be critical.
Alrighty, copy that. I think it will be too, this being a super speedway. Now is your mom and your fiance out there watching on that All Pro Broadcasting chat tonight?
Yeah, we've got Kristen and my mother, Patty, up there in the stands watching, and hopefully we can give them a good result and not wind up on our roof.
Alrighty, copy that. Big shout out to Kristen and Mama Patty. And there Kristen is right there. Back with Mama. She is saying, all right, Mark, final shout outs here, brother.
Just want to give a big thanks to PAD, PADD.org, People Against Distracted Driving, KMA, of course, and all you guys do.
Alrighty, copy that. Good luck to you, Mark Jackson.
Thanks, Scott.
Joining us up in the booth is Dustin Markham in the number 33. How are we doing, Justin?
Pretty good.
All righty, you're sitting there on this restart in position 3. How are the guys out here treating one another tonight?
It's been pretty good so far. We're just swapping the lead up here for a little bit, see what's going to happen. But it's been good so far. Hopefully keep it like this.
All righty, copy that. We certainly do have high hopes. Now, you are aware of the officials taking away one of those extra resets. How much of a factor, with only having one backup vehicle out here tonight, how much of a factor is that going to be?
It's going to matter a little bit more. I'm going to have a little bit more patience throughout the race, but no different than if running an official race where you don't have a reset, so you still got one in the bank, but a little bit more patience.
Alrighty, copy that. Anybody you'd like to give a shout out to? Anybody out here watching you and rooting you on?
Yeah, I do. Chandler Kreese, man, he made pro this week, and I want to congratulate him on making pro this past week.
Alrighty, copy that. And we wishing you the best of luck out here, Dustin Markham.
Thanks.
Mark Jackson, Everett Lane, Dustin Markham, Donald Stewart, Ryan Kuhn. Out there in positions, number 1 through 5. Big shout out to our sponsor out here tonight, Richie B, Greg McClendon, and Jason Russo, along with a lot of independent sponsors that have come together to bring you Friday night flights. And we are on 1 to green out here. We do have 31 drivers out here on this lead lap. Michael Johnson, Chris Hogue falling 1 lap down early on. Right now currently in pit row, getting taken care of. Lap 18 of 100. 10 lead changes. Gonna be some great racing out here. Only 1 caution for 19 laps. Last week we would have already had 3, so these drivers tonight out here really buckling down. Getting ready to go back into some green flag racing. Looking for some green flag pit stops out here tonight. With these drivers going in right now on lap 18, we're on lap 19. They could be going to green flag pit stops approximately lap 47. That is going to be the goal for these drivers out here, lap 47. We'll see what they can do with it out here at Talladega in race 4 of 20 on the Friday Night Flight Series, brought to you by Richie B's, Blaze Pizza, and Pro Automotive. Some of the lap times these drivers have been putting down out here tonight, high 52s, 52.8 by Mark Jackson qualifying. Everett Lane qualifying at a 52.902. Pace car is in, getting ready to roll them out. Mark Jackson one more time, waiting patiently for those lights to go green. It is the leader's discretion. It is the leader's choice. And there he goes, starting to speed him up. Crossing the line at 122 miles per hour. Number 33, Dustin Markham, very tight onto the rear end of Mark Jackson. Number 20, Ryan Kuhn, third car on that inside lane, actually smoking that outside lane. Outside lane, Everett Lane and Donald Stewart finally starting to get a little bit of momentum as the number 25 of Steve Dutz, doing everything he can to get up there to the number 78 of Donald Stewart. Donald Stewart and Everett Lane tighter than a hair in a biscuit, folks, but look at that side-by-side action. There comes up the number 40. The number 40 of Greg McClendon, fourth car on the inside. Tell you what, it would be awful awesome if one of our sponsors could win out here tonight. Greg McClendon doing everything he can right now, looking very sharp out there in the number 40 in 7th position. Up front, Mark Jackson opting to get out of that inside lane, going up to that outside lane, going to get a shove from Everett Lane. Mark Jackson, Everett Lane, Donald Stewart in the middle lane, side by side with Dustin Markham, Ryan Kuhn, and Greg McClendon. It's always fun when you are up here in the front, ladies and gentlemen, but it is an added responsibility. You are a marked man, and you are only going to go as fast as those drivers that are pushing on you. When you are up there in the front, you have no draft. All that draft is behind you. So right now, Dustin Markham, Mark Jackson, very reliant upon the number 20 and the number 24 of Everett Lane. Big shout out to our fans out there. Without our fans, we'd be sitting up here broadcasting by ourselves. Big shout out to Kristen, Mama Patty, and Becky Whitmer. And I tell you what, Mama Patty right now has got to be very proud. Hey, look at this, Mama Patty. We have got Mark Jackson out there in that lead. Right now, Mark Jackson making his fiancée and his mother very proud. There goes the number 33. 33, Dustin Markham. What a drastic move out there. Out to that middle lane, these drivers are starting to heat her up right now. Mark Jackson side by side with Dustin Markham, 35 and 33. Big numbers out here. I do believe, though, if the number 33 of Dustin can get around the number 35 of Mark Jackson, he just might get down in front. But right now, the number 20 of Ryan Kuhn ensuring that lead change will not happen as they approach lap 24, coming into turn 3 and 4. Mark Jackson side by side with Dustin Markham. Right now it is Ryan Kuhn side by side with Dustin. That inner line having just a little bit more momentum. All drivers doing a great job. Great camera action out there by Michael D'Amico. Dropping back to the field, one spot to the number 25. 25 being driven by Steve Dutz. Steve Dutz showing an extreme amount of patience out here tonight. Steve Dutz trying to get a push on to the number 78, Haviline, being driven by Donald Stewart. Number 22 off track. Number 22 is off the track. 22, Jeff Renz. Not quite sure what's going on with Jeff Renz. Trying to get back up onto the track, staying below that yellow line. And 22 going for a spin. Jeff Renz, hang on to it, brother. Hang on to it. 22, Jeff Renz in trouble. Hang on to it. Going into pit row, sliding back up on track. Get her up to speed, brother. You got to get it up to speed. Only at 129, 130, 140. And I'm not quite sure what the number 22 is doing. 22 trying to do everything he can. Back up to speed, back up to speed. I tell you what, that was kind of scary for the number 22. Still losing positions, way below speed, trying to get her up there. All righty, 22 finally getting a grip on her tonight, guys. A little bit of a scare there. Back up to the front with Mark Jackson and Dustin Markham. I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to need a drink after that action right there. Back up to the front with Mark Jackson on that middle lane. Mark Jackson sometimes below, sometimes up. Mark Jackson right now in complete control, getting some big help from his teammate, the number 33 of Dustin Markham as they are side by side with the number 20 of Ryan Kuhn. Greg McClendon in the number 40. What a great job out here by Greg. One position back of Greg. Looking at my good friend Edward Bray in the number 66. Now Edward Bray does have an added responsibility out here tonight. He is the in-house race official down on that track. The added responsibility of that, folks, he's not only got to watch his own line, he's got to watch the line of the other drivers. He's got a lot of things going on out there. He's got a lot of different radio channels happening. But right now, Edward Bray doing a very good job, not only of controlling this field, but of controlling his very own race. As right now, Edward Bray is in position 6. Third car on that inside, side by side with Everett Lane. Edward Bray pulling down last lap times of a 48.443. Mark Jackson pulling down a 48.485. Very close lap times. Top speeds down this backstretch reaching 198 miles per hour. Edward Bray being very patient out here, side by side with Everett Lane. I tell you what, folks, since these drivers are doing such a great job, let's get to the back of that field, talk to a few, look at a few drivers we have not yet spoken of. Looking at the number 29 of Jody Green. Now, Jody Green running for Unacceptable Racing, doing a great job out here tonight, being very safe. Sharp looking car there by the number 29 of Jody Green. Great paint job. Looking like the United States Postal Service. Snail mail with the number 29 of Jody Green. In front of Jody Green, we have got the number 88 of Jeff Ryan. Now, Jeff Ryan and Jody Green both running for Unacceptable Racing. Number 81 of Chad Roy in front of the number 88 of Jeff Ryan. Slight slide down right there. Side by side with the number 32, the number 32 of Will Prolix. Will Prolix, first time out here tonight. Do not know this driver, other than he's got a pretty sharp looking Royal Crown Cola right there. Great looking paint job. But I am not very familiar with the number 32 of Will at all. But right now he's just hanging out there being safe. One position up, the number 34. The number 34 being driven by Danny Rudy. Now we all know Danny Rudy. Dan's top notch, heating and cooling. Danny Rudy, a very good friend of mine and Mike's. Big shout out to All Pro Broadcasting. Danny Rudy in the number 34, slowly working his way up through this field. He did qualify at position 35. And right now he is in position 15, coming up onto the rear end of the number 14 of Jason Russo. Now out on that high side, the number 78 of Donald Stewart. 78 of Donald Stewart having to drop to the rear of the field, was experiencing some internet difficulties, making him begin to lag out a little bit. So big shout out to Donald Stewart dropping to the rear end of the field, not wanting to interfere and mess up anybody's race. But right now, Donald Stewart, he does appear to have settled down. Big shout out for Donald Stewart for doing the right thing. Jumping up to number 32, the number 32 in trouble. Number 32 is the Prolix, Will Prolix, getting a little bit wiggly. Gets it back in line. Pretty wide action with Will and the number 29 and the number 78. That did definitely break apart this rear of the field pack, as the number 32 did get a little bit wiggly. Right now losing positions as the number 88 of Jeff Ryan comes up in front, trying to get back onto the rear end of the number 29, his partner in crime tonight. Caution is out, ladies and gentlemen, as the number 27 of Harry Dodd, number 27 of Harry Dodd, going to the right turn as he got nicked into the rear end by the number 22, Jeff Renz. Now, I tell you what, Harry Dodd is somewhat of a regular here with the KMA lead. Good driver. Number 22 of Jeff Renz, I do believe this is his second race. But the number 22 just barely, ladies and gentlemen, getting into the rear end of the number 27 of Harry Dodd. Interesting that the number 22 of Jeff Renz not really receiving any damage on that one there, but unfortunately the number 27, Harry Dodd, going for a huge ride out here end over end, and nothing that the 004 of Michael Johnson could do to avoid it. Michael Johnson actually driving through Harry Dodd, bringing out our second caution of the night. We are on lap 32, and we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back at you.
And every face you see that says your name will always give you just a smile for while forgot it's you and what you've done that's still remains.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. What a great night out here so far. These drivers are on lap 35. We are underneath our second caution of the evening. Drivers getting ready to get lined up with almost about one to go. Got to give us a chance to get a quick driver interview in before we do get back to some green flag racing. Joining us up in the booth is our current race leader, Steve Dutz. How are we doing, Steve?
Good. How are you guys?
I'm doing good. Now, you're going to be leading this restart out here tonight on lap, as we take lap 36. Talk to us about your race so far.
Well, it's been pretty good. We're just sitting in the back here, and now we're up to the front because of fuel strategy. And I think that me and Jason will stay up in the front for a little bit, then possibly dive down pit road for some fuel, and we'll see what happens after that.
All right, copy that. Very quick question, as we are on one to go. Do you feel a little bit odd out here tonight being in the number 25 and not your normal 48?
A little bit. It's kind of it takes a little bit to memorize your number again, but used to be called the 48, now we're the 25, I believe, and it's a little mind jarring, I would say. It's a little harder to think on the number.
All righty, copy that. Well, what if I told you that 25 times 2 is 50 and minus 2 is your 48? Good luck to you, Steve.
Thank you.
Steve Dutz in the number 25, a.k.a. the number 48. Steve Dutz out here not getting his usual number tonight, but doing just as well. Now, he is side by side with the number 14 of Jason Russo. Lined up behind Jason Russo is Mark Jackson, his teammate, along with the number 40 of Greg McClendon. And right now, these drivers are set to go back to some green flag racing. 2 cautions, 17 lead changes. We are on lap 36. Big shout out to the painters out here at Top Paints and Designs and all the individuals that do come out and paint. Getting ready to go. Going on leader's discretion, Steve Dutz, Jason Russo, waiting for that green light. Come on, and away goes Steve Dutz and Jason Russo. Great start right there. Mark Jackson on that outside lane, completely falling backwards. Don't know what Mark Jackson is doing. Right now up there to the front with the number 25 of Steve Dutz, getting a big push from Ryan Kuhn. But on that middle lane being led by Jason Russo, working with Greg McClendon and Donald Sadusky. Look at this middle lane freight train begin to form here on lap 37. Jason Russo, Greg McClendon, sponsors 4 Friday night flights, trying to work their way up to the front by way of that middle lane. And there is Richie B, but the number 40 going out 3 wide. I don't know what the number 40 Greg was thinking right there. He was either going to go 3 wide, hoping that the number 19 would go with him, or he was cooling it. But I tell you what, folks, this is really cool on this outside lane. We have got sponsor number 14, sponsor number 40, and the sponsor of 07 Richie B, separated only by the number 19 of Donald Sadusky. 3 of the sponsors for tonight riding up in that middle lane. I tell you what, Richie B, Jason Russo Pro Automotive, and Blaze Pizza, Greg McClendon taking care of things out here in race 4 of Friday Night Flights. What great racing right here in the front with Jason Russo and the number 25 of Steve Dutz. Plenty of room between these drivers as they cross that start-finish line at 197 miles per hour. None of these drivers wanting to get real tight. I don't believe we have talked about the hair and the biscuit tonight as of yet. These drivers knowing they have still got 60 laps and 2 pit stops to get her done tonight. Ryan Kuhn all over the rear end of the number 25 of Steve Dutz down on that inside lane. Side-by-side action with our race leaders. Dropping back, checking in with Gary Whitmer in the number 5. Gary Whitmer, oh, great, trouble in front, ladies and gentlemen, as the leaders do lock horns as the number 40. I do believe it is the number 40 of Greg McClendon. We're going to back it up. We do know that Greg was getting a super big push from the number 19 of Donald Sadusky. Does appear Donald Sadusky just may have clipped onto the rear end of the number 40 of Blaze Pizza. Greg McClendon bringing out our third caution of the night. Donald Sadusky locking it up with the number 40 of Greg McClendon. Now Greg had nowhere to go as he did take a left-hand turn and collected the number 25 of Steve Newts and the number 20 of Ryan Kuhn. Everett Lane, number 24, collected as well. Well, unfortunate break right there, bringing out our third caution of the night as Donald Sadusky gets into the rear end of our sponsor, number 40 of Greg McClendon. But fortunately, Richie B and Jason Russo able to safely slide by. A great big shout out to the safety of Jason Russo and Richard Brose. But Greg McClendon definitely going to be getting in and getting a backup vehicle. Jason Russo, Richard Brose. I will put Edward Bray back there in position 3. Now we're going to keep these cameras on Jason Russo and Richie B and see what they decide to do in pit row. Plenty of time to go in and get fueled up. They might be working on a fuel strategy, and Jason Russo and Richie B will be heading into pit row for tire and fuels. Now at this point in time, the question is 2 or 4. Looking at Jason Russo in pit row, taking left sides. Jason Russo only taking left sides. Jason Russo on his way. Jason Russo on his way out of pit row. Now that will put Jeff Ryan out there in the front. Jeff Ryan tonight driving the number 88. Jeff Ryan joining us up in the booth. Have you got a copy, Jeff Ryan? Jeff Ryan, have you got a copy, sir? Alrighty, folks. Unfortunately, Jeff Ryan having some microphone issues. That's all right. We'll move right on to Richard Brose. Checking in with Richard Brose. Have you got a copy, Richie B?
I wish I didn't, but I do.
I know you're a shy guy. I will not keep you very long, Richie B. Real quick, talk to us about your race so far.
A little more difficult tonight than the last few races. I'm driving a little frustrated, but everybody seemed to be evenly matched here tonight. So I was in the right place at the wrong time when that wreck occurred, so I was able to get out of that. And I used my one quick fix. So right now, hopefully I can stay up front and keep the car together and maybe, finish tonight.
Well, I tell you what, Richie, we have been watching you and talking about you intermittently throughout tonight's broadcast, and I think you're doing a darn great job right now. Tell us real quick about Richie B.
I forgot. Oh, Richie B. That's that pizza joint down in Dothan, Alabama. That's right. Yeah, I've been there for 6 years. I still sell pizza. Every time you ask about my place, nothing changes except the specials every day. So today's special was a hot roast pork sandwich on homemade garlic bread with French fried onions, honey mustard sauce, and fresh mozzarella cheese. What else do you want from me, Scott?
I want free pizza, Richie B. I tell you what, you're a funny guy, Richie B, doing a great job out here. And hey, congratulations on the new little lady in your life. I'll be down there tomorrow morning to take her for a spin, Richie B.
10 for it, thank you.
Alrighty, Richie B, normally a shy guy, but tonight Richie B, being a little bit of a comedian. Big shout out to Richie B. Going to be restarting in position 2. Jeff Ryan, Richie B, Jason Russo, Dustin Markham, Edward Bray, positions 1 through 5. Joining us up in the booth is Edward Bray. Edward Bray restarting in position 5. Alrighty, Edward Bray, we were talking to the fans about the added responsibility that you have tonight out here on the track. How are you handling it? Right now you're in position 5 in a good spot. Talk to me about it.
Well, I'm just trying to remind everybody we got a long race to go. I mean, we're almost halfway now, so I'm just trying to keep everybody calm, patient, and you know, if we have any incidents where you know, the officials are letting me know that if they need to be parked or not. So we've already parked one, and so hopefully we can get this thing going green, and I can bring this Reaper Impala to the finish.
Alrighty, copy that. Now, speaking of that Reaper, talk to us a little bit real quick about that paint job.
This is done by Loose Lug Nuts with and he's done all my paints, and I really appreciate everything he does for not only myself, but I know a lot of for the KMA.
Alrighty, copy that. Big shout out to Over the Top Paints and Designs. Big shout out to you, Edward Bray. Tough man out here making tough decisions and looking pretty darn tough all the way around. Good luck to you, Edward.
Thanks, Scott.
And we are getting ready to go back to some green flag racings, almost at the halfway point. Lap 43 of 100. Lap 44, drivers will be going green on lap 45. Not quite out to that halfway point yet. Jeff Ryan, Richard Brose, Jason Russo, Dustin Markham, Edward Bray, Jay Dargett taking up our top 6 spots. Jeff Ryan out here representing Unacceptable Racing. Very acceptable racer, though. Now, I was down here talking to these drivers earlier tonight, and the bigger part of Team Unacceptable down there at the Daytona 24 Rolex. I guess Jeff Ryan might be joining them tomorrow, but tonight not joining Mark Allen and his teammates down there. But hey, hope those guys are down there watching the race tonight on their Kindles and their iPhones. Big shout out to the Unacceptable Racing crew down at the Rolex Daytona 24 as these drivers getting ready to go back to our third restart of the night. Jeff Ryan side by side with Richie B. Pace car is in. Leader's discretion. Jeff Ryan holding steady at 80. Richie at 80. 80 miles per hour. Waiting for that green light. And there they go. There goes Jeff Ryan. Get a big boost from Jason Russo, but go, Richie, go. Richie B on that outside lane. Not even getting a push from Dustin Markham. Richie B is just that darn fast. Looking at that inside lane, Jason Russo. Here it is, folks. Jason Russo, tighter than a hair in a biscuit on the number 88 of Jeff Ryan. Richie B and Dustin Markham challenging on that outside line. Edward Bray, third car on that inside lane. Number 38 of Jay Dargett, showing his love for the Trump Meister. Jay Dargett, third car inside, third car middle lane, in position 6. Side by side with the number 40 of Greg McClendon. Really glad to see Greg McClendon right back out here. Unfortunately, he was involved with our third caution with Donald Dusky. But Greg McClendon out here, almost right back where he started, going in, grabbing that reset. But that will mean that Greg McClendon right now is on his very last vehicle. So we'll have to see how aggressively Greg McClendon does for the remaining 54 laps here at Talladega in race 4. of the Friday Night Flight Series. Richie B on that outside lane, getting very close to Jason Russo. Jason Russo getting a little bit wiggly squiggly. He is pushing on the rear end of the number 88 of Jeff Ryan for everything he has got. Now the thing about this, ladies and gentlemen, the harder that he does push onto the number 88 of Jeff Ryan, he is going to start heating up that engine. As that engine does heat up, we're looking at him right now coming down that backstretch, trying to peek off the right side of the number 88. He's not trying to pass. And there goes Jason Russo. Jason Russo off track. Jason Russo going for a ride. Jason Russo off track. No caution will spring. And word on the track, Jason Russo did blow his engine. Now, we were looking at that. We had our cameras right there on there, folks. But Jason Russo, we were talking about how he needed to be peaking. And, well, he blew that engine, got it too darn hot. Unfortunate break for Jason Russo, blowing the engine of the 2011 old Impala B back up to the front. Then we'll put Richie B up there in that P1 spot, being pushed on by the number 33 of Dustin Markham. Richie B leading lap 48, trying to lead lap 49. But on that outside lane, on the rebound, comes the number 88 of Jeff Ryan, being pushed on by Everett Fast Lane Racing in the number 24. Third in line, there he is, the Reaper himself, number 66, Edward Bray. Edward Bray right now in position 6, almost side by side with Dustin Markham. Now these drivers are going to be coming back up onto the number 14 of Jason Russo. The rules here are slower traffic, stay high, and Jason Russo will be staying high, but these leaders will be whipping around. Number 14 of Jason Russo on his second vehicle tonight, very shortly as they do take 3 wide. Number 88, Jeff Ryan, very close to Dustin Markham. Plenty of room on that outside lane. Jeff Ryan up a little bit, down a little bit. Jeff Ryan, it's like he's going down there saying hey to Richie B and then moving back up that track. Holding a good line, but definitely using a lot of the line. Now between these white lines, folks, you can fit 2 of these Impala Class Bs. Jeff Ryan with left tires on the white, and then he'll be up there and put those right tires on the white. Jeff Ryan using every bit of this Talladega track that he can find and muster. Everett Lane, very close to the number 38 of Jay Dargett. Everett Lane in position 4 here on lap 50 at the halfway point. 3 cautions, 22 lead changes. Drivers doing a much better job out here tonight. Still looking for those green flag racing. Green flag pit stops. Big shout out to Becky Whitmer out there. Do want to give a big shout out for a very good friend of mine today, Michelle McMaster Eisenhower and her husband Don. Out there preoccupied with other things going on out there in real life. Not able to join us. Hoping she still tunes in though. But I know she'll be out here watching the replay. Want to send my deepest, a big hug out there to Michelle McMaster. I know Becky is just sending her lots of love right now. Big shout out to Michelle McMaster Eisenhower and her husband Don. Big shout out to Becky Whitmer being a great friend. Right now, in the front, Jeff Ryan and Richard Brose battling for that lead. Now, while we do have a minute, why these drivers are being calm and smooth, I do want to tell you about next Saturday. Our good friend here, Becky Whitmer, hosting up a very special event next week. Looking at the number 88, bumping into the number 33 of Dustin Markham up here in the front. that will put Dustin Markham out there in the front, in the middle. Dustin Markham edging back down, edging back up. Don't know where he's going. Jeff Ryan, 3 wide to the front. There goes Dustin Markham back down to the inside lane. Richie B side by side with the number 88. Jeff Ryan, hang on to it, boys. No more cautions out here tonight in race 4. All righty, a little bit of shakeup right there. Everett Lane, 88. Number 88 of Jeff Ryan. All righty, they calm down now. Good job, drivers. All right, back to next Saturday. Becky Whitmer hosting up the Drive for Dementia Awareness. Very special race. Posting up a lot of information this week about Alzheimer's and dementia awareness. 3 wide in the front. 3 wide in the front with Jeff Ryan. And the number 33 of Dustin Markham and Richie B. Not going to work out for the number 88 of Jeff Ryan. Jeff Ryan going to lose several positions right there. From hero to, well, he's still a hero in my book. But Jeff Ryan going to lose several positions out here on lap 54. Richard Brose, Dustin Markham, Everett Lane, Jay Dargett. Jay Dargett did not qualify, started out in position 36, and he is in position 3. Richard Brose giving it all he's got to Dustin Markham. One more attempt at next Saturday. We're going to be checking out the Drive for Dementia Awareness brought to you by Becky Whitmer. Posting up a lot of information this week about Alzheimer's and dementia. Big shout out to Becky Whitmer. Be sure to stay tuned for the commercials that will be brought to you by GW Graphics. Gary Whitmer Jr., the official videographer for KMA Racing. And speaking of GW, Gary Whitmer in position 5. Gary Whitmer, the number 5, in position 5. Qualified out tonight on position 9. Right now, Gary Whitmer in very good hands as they do pass the number 23 of Lee Ryerson, falling 10 laps down. Lee Ryerson, 10 laps down. Back up to Gary Whitmer, though. Gary Whitmer doing a great job tonight. Gary Whitmer get a little bit of love from the number 22 of Jeff Renz. Gary Whitmer side by side with the number 74 of Mark Bose as the number 20 of Ryan Kuhn in that Napa. Very sharp paint job there. You gotta love Napa. Keeping these drivers out here right in tune. Number 20 being driven by Ryan Kuhn, leading Gary Whitmer hopefully to the front of this pack here on lap 56. 56 laps in of 100, 3 cautions, 27 lead changes. Wow, that is a whole lot of lead changes going on up here. A lot of those belonging to Dustin Markham, a few of them belonging to Richard Brose. But look at the number 66, Edward Bray, has yet to lead a lap. Edward Bray starting off in P12, right now up there in P3. Pushing on Everett Lane. Everett Lane qualifying in at P2, right now in P1. All righty, I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I know it is early on, but go on and talk to me about who you are rooting for to win tonight. Number 22, Jeff Renz, taking the number 88 of Jeff Ryan to the wall. Jeff Renz, big smack on the door of the number 88 of Jeff Ryan. Well, I tell you what, if that was I'm going to hold that thought right there. But the number 22 showing a little bit of hard love to Jeff Renz, or to the number 88 of Jeff Ryan. Jeff getting into Jeff right there on lap 58. Unfortunately, Jeff Ryan suffering the worst end of that deal. Bumper humping already beginning on lap 58. Door jamming. I tell you what, folks, lap 58, there will be thrills, there will be spills, there will be chills, but right now, Edward Bray going for his first lead of the night. Edward Bray side by side with Everett Lane. Edward Bray right now saying, Richie, push me, push me, push me. Wanting to lead a lap. Racing it out side by side with Everett Lane. Will it be Everett? Will it be Edward? leading lap 60. Right now, Everett Lane by about 3/4 of a length up there on 66 of Edward Bray. Number 33, Dustin Markham. Look at how tightly Dustin Markham is pushing up on the number 24's rear end of Everett Lane. Now, last time we did see this, Jason Russo was doing that, and we did see Jason Russo pop that Chevy engine, got her too darn hot. But side by side, Richie B in the same predicament. I tell you what, drivers, they are not having the heavy laden cautions, not having the chance to cool those engines down. Right now, hot and heavy on lap 59. Everett Lane, side by side with Edward Bray as they pass the lap traffic of the 004. And Jeff Renz, number 22 of Jeff Renz. Unfortunate break for Jeff Renz, and that will be our 4th caution of the night. Looking at that on our All-Pro Broadcasting replay, and brought to you by GW Graphics. And Jason Russo actually clipping the rear end of the number 22. Now, interesting situation here, folks. The number 22 and the number 14 were squared up, but as they did approach the lap traffic of Michael Johnson, the trajectory lane of Jeff actually went a little bit high, I think possibly throwing off the lane of the number 14 of Jason Russo, and Jason just barely getting into the number 22 of Jeff Renz. That will bring out our 4th caution of the night, ladies and gentlemen. Everett Lane, Edward Bray, Richie B, and Dustin Markham will be out here in positions 1, 2, and 3. Going to check out what these drivers do as far as their pit strategy, keeping cameras up there focused on Everett Lane and Edward Bray. Now, I tell you what, folks, I will remind you of the pit window. We're looking at 30 laps on a tank of fuel. I am not sure what Everett or Edward have, but if they go into pit row right now, as it does appear that they will do, they could work out a very good pit strategy. Go out here, take about a 6-lap run, come back in, grab a full tank, and they will be good to go. And indeed, Everett Lane and Edward Bray going into pit row. I tell you what, taking a look at that number 24 Everett Lane paint job, the red and black representing Fast Lane Racing, looking like one of those bandanas from 1984 that us old guys wore down around our ankles and wrists. And yes, sir, ladies and gentlemen, that was me out there in 84. Glad to see Everett Lane, also a fan of the red and black. I believe those were called tiger stripes back in the day. Going to give me a chance to get in a interview with Everett Lane. How about it, Everett Lane? Have you got a copy?
Sure do, Scott. How you doing, buddy?
Doing very good. I tell you what, we were having a little chuckle up here in the booth talking about your red and black. Reminded me of those bandanas we used to wear back in 1984. Talk to me about your race, brother.
Having a good time tonight here in these cars, man. They don't drive these things much, but when we get in them, they're a lot of fun here at these super speedways.
All righty, you're doing very good out here tonight, right now in position 2. You qualified in position 2, so you haven't made much progress, but you haven't gone backwards either. Talk to me about what your game plan is. I know you're going to have to do one more pit stop. You're in a position for an early pit strategy, or you're going to run or dry?
Well, we'll let the race work itself out and see where it falls. How to use up the quick fix there, a couple cautions ago, but we got a new vehicle under us and got right side tires that last pit. So next time we go in, I'll just get some lefts and some fuel, try to finish this baby off.
All righty, copy that. Anybody out here watching you on the All-Pro Broadcasting chat, or any sponsors out there rooting you on?
I want to throw a shout out to my mom tonight. She's under the weather a little bit. She had some surgery tonight, and I hope she's feeling better and getting well soon. And I want to throw a shout out to my brother Billy, who's watching tonight, cheering me on.
All righty, copy that. All right, we're going to keep Mom Fast Lane up there in our prayers. And big shout out to Billy. Big shout out to you, Everett Lane.
Thank you, Scott. You guys are doing a great job up there. Keep up the good work up there.
Everett Lane, great driver out here, having some fun out here. Gonna get a chance to get one more driver interview. How about it, Ryan Kuhn? Have you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
All righty. I hear the excitement in your voice. Now, I did mention to our fans on our Tuesday night series, winning 1, 2, and 4. What are your thoughts on winning here tonight?
It'd be huge if we won here tonight. This is, I think it's one of my first races for Friday night, and I'm glad to make it out tonight. And if we get a top 5 finish, I'll be glad, because running up the front with these guys is a lot of fun. I mean, it's just unbelievable how these guys drive. They're so good. I don't know what else to say, but this is so fun. I just love it here.
All right, copy that. And we're glad to have you out here. You know, you're pretty good yourself. You're a humble gentleman, I can tell. You have won 3 of the 4 Tuesday night races, and you're out here rooting it up for the other guys. I tell you what, Ryan, you are a very gentlemanly type young man. Anybody out here cheering you on tonight?
I sent the broadcast to a lot of people tonight. I'd like to thank all of them, and thank all of them for watching. And then I got Reagan, my crew chief, tonight. I'd like to thank him. He's making all the calls, and so I'd like to thank everybody, KMA, you guys in the booth. It's a lot of fun doing this.
All righty, copy that. Big shout out to Reagan out there helping you on. Good luck to you tonight, Ryan.
Thank you.
I tell you what, I always love the young guys out here on these tracks. When they're in our good graces, we call them young guns and great drivers. When they're not, we call them chipmunks. But right now, no chipmunks out here tonight. All these drivers out here tonight doing a great job. We've got 19 drivers back on the lead lap. Jason Russo, our 19th driver. At the rear of the field, Michael Johnson. 1 lap down, Jacob Trent Bradford. 1 lap down. Looking great out there. Jacob Trent Bradford out there in the Hunt Brothers Pizza. I tell you, what is it about KMA Racing and Pizza? We have got Hunt Brothers Pizza out here. We have got Blaze Pizza. We have got Richie B's Pizza. Well, I tell you what, folks, there's a reason that I leave these nights and I head straight for that freezer. Break out a pizza. Pizza, KMA and APB out here on a Friday night. Having a great time. 4 cautions, 29 lead changes. And speaking about pizza, Domino's TYJ out there on Wednesdays and Thursday nights. Check them out there on Wednesdays and Thursday nights. Domino's TYJ. Right now, the number 10 of Judd Danielson in pit road taking repairs. But you'll see Judd out there on the Tuesday night. You're going to see Robert Graham McFarland out there on that. I said Tuesday, I meant Wednesday and Thursday. But Robert Graham McFarland, Judd Danielson, David Washington out there on the Wednesdays and Thursdays. Domino's TYJ. And with the Domino's TYJ, our viewers actually getting heavily involved, winning a chance at a free pizza right there by calling the race winner. I do believe Becky Whitmer and her husband, a recent winners on that Wednesday and Thursdays. Domino's TYJ. KMA, Domino's TYJ, Blaze Pizza, Richie B's Pizza. Pace car is off. Steve Dukes side by side with Everett Fast Lane Racing. Edward Bray on the rear end of Steve. Dustin Markham on the rear end of Everett, and away they go. 6 degrees of separation on that inside lane between Edward Bray and Steve Dukes, allowing that outside lane being driven by the number 24 of Everett Lane, and Dustin Markham and Richie B. A little bit more momentum. Outside positions, 1, 2, and 3, tighter than a hair and a biscuit right there. Edward Bray doing all he can to push back up on Steve Dukes, but that middle lane, and there we go as Everett and Dustin simultaneously move down to that inside lane. But on that outside lane, ladies and gentlemen, what am I talking about? Pizza, pizza, pizza. There goes Richie B and Greg McClendon on that outside lane. Up goes Everett in front of the number 7 drastic move there by Everett Lane, as that does allow the number 33 of Dustin Markham to lead lap 66. Richie B going way outside. Richie B, what is going on with Richie B? Richie B losing several positions. Richie B dropping all the way to the rear of the field. Do not know if Richie B has blown up. Richie B going into pit row. What is Richie B doing here? Richie, all right, ladies and gentlemen, I have got the word on the track with Richie B experiencing a computer malfunction. All righty, back up to the front. Back up to the front, Dustin Markham side by side with the number 66 of Edward Bray. Edward Bray leading the lap. Edward Bray going down to that inside lane. All righty, well, I tell you what, unfortunately, Richie B has been had a disconnect. He is out of the race, experiencing possible weather conditions in his area. But thank you, Richie B, knowing that his connection was beginning to fail. Hate to see that. Richie B was a contender out here tonight, but being the big guy, knowing that his, we'll call it the engine, but the engine, the internet engine, giving out on Richie B tonight. Back up to the front with Edward Bray, being pushed on by Dustin Markham, side by side with Everett. Everett and Blaze Pizza. Well, I tell you, we still got one more pizza guy out here. We got Greg McClendon. Greg McClendon going to the front, riding along the rear end of the number 24 of Everett Lane. Number 20, Napa Ryan Kuhn, a young driver out here tonight, but dominating so far on that Tuesday night series, brought to you by Jason Russo and Pro Automotive. Ryan Kuhn and Napa taking a bite out of the number 40, Greg McClendon, Blaze Pizza, pushing on Everett. Big shout out to Bill out there, friend of Everett Lane, but unfortunately that middle lane beginning to fall back. Edward Bray getting a huge push from the number 33 of Dustin Markham. Outside lane, fighting back. Here comes Everett. Everett now with a nose. Everett with half a nose and a half. Everett Lane, Edward Bray, side by side. Do you want to give a big shout out to Greg McClendon? Now, since Greg McClendon has joined up with KMA Racing and APB, get a lot of business out there with Blaze Pizza. I know my good friend Mike D'Amico was up there checking out Blaze Pizza today. Ivan Garcia has been up there to see Blaze Pizza. Jeff Ryan has been out there to see Blaze Pizza. I'm going to go see Blaze Pizza this coming Sunday. Big move by Blaze Pizza, number 40, down to that inside lane. Greg McClendon tonight making things happen. Alrighty, now this inside lane, it is looking very interesting, ladies and gentlemen. Edward Bray, Dustin Markham, Greg McClendon on that inside lane representing KMA Racing. On the outside lane, we have got Everett Lane, Ryan Kuhn. There goes the number 33 of Dustin Markham. Dustin Markham wanting to race Edward Bray side by side here on lap 70. And there you go. We three wide with the number 76 of Ryan Kuhn. I expected Dustin Markham to do that, ladies and gentlemen. I actually wanted to predict that. Dustin Markham went around the number 66 of Edward Bray, but did not abandon his brother. He just wanted to get up there in front of his brother. Well, that's okay. My big brother used to push me around. Now I push him around. Don't care how it gets done. But right now, brothers working that inside lane with the 33 and the number 66. 33 times 2, 66. KMA in action on that inside lane. Everett Lane on the outside working with the number 20 of Ryan Kuhn. Ladies and gentlemen, let's go on and take one more commercial break, and we will be back with you with the final 25 very shortly. Commercial break. And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. Drivers are getting ready to go in for some green flag pit stops very soon. And we do know that Everett Lane should be going into pit row very soon. And the number 66 of Edward Bray, word on the track is Edward Bray will be pitting very soon, keeping those cameras locked up on our race leaders. Looking for some green flag pit stops coming up, ladies and gentlemen. We are on lap 74 of 100, looking at Edward Bray, anticipating green flag pit stops coming up. What a great race out here tonight. We love these green flag pit stops coming up, and they are sometimes hard to come by. Word on the track, these drivers right now on turn 2, they will be pitting this time by. Going to be some great pit row action coming up. Ladies and gentlemen, these drivers have got to get these Chevy Impala 2011 throwbacks down from 196 miles per hour down into pit row for a speed of 60 miles per hour. Speed going in, you're going to get held back for 15 seconds, get sped coming out. They're going to pull you back in. There goes Everett Lane. There goes Edward Bray. There goes the number 25 of Steve Newts. Cameras locked on Edward Bray. Busy in pit row. Greg McClendon, Jay Dargett. But we got those cameras locked on Edward Bray. Great green flag pit row action. Ladies and gentlemen, this is what we pay to see. Looking at that number 66, Edward Bray. What a stop. Sliding in on a 45-degree angle. Will he take rights? Does not look like it. Will he take lefts? No, sirree, Bob. Out goes the number 66, Edward Bray, taking no tires, but he's being challenged on pit row by the number 38. Number 38 being driven by Jay Durgett. Jay Durgett actually upping his tires across that yellow line to advance his position on the exit way. Well. I don't know what I think about that. I don't know about that, but there goes Edward Bray exiting pit row with the number 25 of Steve Newts. All drivers staying below that yellow line, following the rules. Edward Bray, Steve Newts, tighter than a hair in a biscuit on the number 38 of Jay Dargett. Green flag pit stops up here with Edward Bray and, you know what, a whole lot of other drivers. Alrighty, checking up with our current race leader. Current race leader is Mark Bowes. Mark Bowes driving the number 74. Coming up onto the lap, traffic of Donald Stewart. Donald Stewart in position 15. Mark Bowes with a big run, but he is going to need the help of the number 78 of Donald Stewart. Mark Bowes going to rely on the draft of the number 78 of Donald Stewart. Donald Stewart currently sitting in position 15 on the tail end. Actually on the tail end of the pack. So interesting situation. Now look at this. We have got Mark Bowes, who is our leader, ladies and gentlemen, and he is pushing on the number 78, Donald Stewart, who is the last car on that lead lap. Now, what this means is if Mark Bowes passes Donald Stewart, he will put Donald Stewart one lap down. Now, the reason that is important, ladies and gentlemen, right now, if that caution happens behind Mark Bowes, that will freeze the field, and the number 78 will be able to continue on around that track, and he will be the last car on the lead lap as he is right now. But if Mark Bowes passes the number 78, well, he's going to put the number 78 one lap down. Right now, it would be advantage to both of these drivers to work together. Dropping back to number 2 position, Ivan Garcia. Now, Ivan Garcia in a similar predicament, working with the lap traffic vehicles of Michael Johnson. Michael Johnson actually going to push Ivan Garcia. Michael Johnson is 1 lap down in position 17th, pushing him around the lap traffic of position 16. So right now, Ivan Garcia and Michael Johnson, lap traffic, helping position 2. Teamwork going on out here. Dropping back to our position 3, a lot more activity right here with Everett Lane side by side with the lap traffic of the number 38. Actually, the number 38, Jay Durgett, my bad, Jay Durgett in 3rd spot. Everett Lane, Jay Durgett battling over that 3rd and 4th spot. Number 33, Dustin Markham on the inside lane, pushing along the rear end of Everett. Fast Lane Racing to number 24, but on that outside lane, we have got 66, Edward Bray, pushing on to 38 of Jay Durgett. Edward Bray backing off, possibly being tempted into a 3 wide. Will he? No, he will not. Edward Bray obviously just backing off to cool those jets. 40, Greg McClendon going for a ride. Oh my goodness. All righty, second pizza guy down tonight. Greg McClendon getting it into reverse, doing everything he can to get it back on track. No damage for Greg McClendon. But Greg McClendon going for a ride here on lap 81. Unfortunate break for Greg McClendon. Hey, big shout out to Michael Lawler out there on that All Pro Broadcasting chat channel. How you doing, Michael? Good to see ya. Mark Bose way out there in front, still working on the lap traffic of the number 78 of Donald Stewart. Now, Mark Bose has got a 12-second advantage over second place of Ivan Garcia. He has got a 19-second advantage over Everett Lane. I do know for a fact that Mark Bose does have to go into pit row. Not sure quite when, but I'm not so sure. Mark Bose leading on lap 82 is in a very safe place right now, just due to that pit row strategy. We're going to move those cameras back to the number 66 of Edward Bray. Great racing right here. We have got 7 drivers right now in this secondary pack. Right now currently being led by the number 24 of Everett Lane. Racing side by side with the number 38 Trump car being driven by Jay Durgett. Alrighty, well I tell you what, Jay Durgett trying to do Mr. Trump, our President Trump, very proud tonight. Big shout out to the number 38, showing his political affiliation. Kind of an interesting situation right here. I got to make a little light of this. We have got the Reaper, and the Reaper is pushing on the Trump. I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, you got to chuckle at that one right there, but I won't give up my day job. Reaper number 66, Edward Bray, pushing on the Trump Chevy Impala, being driven by Jay Durgett, side by side with Fast Lane Racing Everett Lane, and the number 33 of Dustin Markham. I want to drop back one more position to the number 61 of Brad Ream. Now, we have not talked all night about Brad Ream. Now, I know Brad Ream. Great driver, great father. Brad Ream actually involved in some Scottish dress up. That is not the right word. But Brad Ream getting into this role playing with the way that Scottish guys did their stuff back in the 17th century. Brad Ream, very good friend of mine, great dad, great driver. Brad Ream doing great things. 3-wide action between Everett Lane, Edward Bray, and Brad Ream. 3-wide action in the front. Everett Lane, the monkey in the middle. Will the 38, Jay Durgett, come down and help him? Jay Durgett trying to help out both lanes. 4-wide. No sirree. Everett Lane saving that 4-wide, but we could have gone 4-wide. Everett Lane coming back up into the pathway of the number 38, way up into the pathway of the number 66. Up goes Brad, up goes Dustin, down goes Dustin. 33, take her easy, brother. 33, Dustin Markham, Brad Ream. Great action up in front. Lap 85, 4 cautions, 38 lane changes. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, great racing out here. Everett Lane, Jay Dirt, one more time. Operating that middle lane, there goes Mr. Fast Lane Racing himself. Down goes number 24, Everett Lane, that inside lane. Brad Ream, number 61, Brad Ream, hang on to her, brother. Brad Ream, hang on to her, doing everything he can. Caution not out. Brad Ream possibly bringing out the next caution, maybe not. Brad Ream going for a ride. No caution will fly. But I tell you what, Brad Ream, number 61, we had those cameras locked. We had those cameras loaded. Brad Ream. Wow, heartbreaker for Brad Ream and the number 61 back up to the front with Everett Lane and the number 38 of Jay Dargett. Taking the number 76, Ronald Klein, 3 wide. We have got the number 38 side by side with Everett Lane. Number 33, Dustin Markham, giving everything he's got to the fast guy himself. Big shout out to Bill out there on that All-Pro Broadcasting chat. Rooting on Everett Lane, but the number 38 of Jay Dargett. Rooting on the President Trump. Hopefully the President Trump is out of here rooting on the number 38. I tell you what, that would be a hoot and Annie right there. I'm sure the President's probably got more important things to do than watch us do this, but I tell you what, we are worthy of this. Right now, Everett Lane, Everett Lane and the number 38 of Jay Dargett side by side, approaching the lap traffic of Greg McClendon. Greg McClendon right now, that will put him 2 laps down, but Greg McClendon, what a trooper, staying true to it. Now, these drivers have cut down their lead on our leader. They are down to 9 seconds. We're keeping our cameras focused on Everett. But just to give you an update, Mark Mose still up in front, working with the lap traffic of Donald Stewart. But right now, 9 seconds. They have cut that lead down to 9 seconds right now. Everett and Jay and Edward and Dustin and the number 68 of Rob Haynes and the number 25 of Steve Newts. A 6-pack on lap 89. 4 cautions, 38 lead changes. Great racing out here tonight with race 4 in the Friday Night Flight Series. Everett Lane on that inside lane being pushed on by Dustin Markham. Jay Dargett on that outside lane being pushed on by the 66. Edward Bray, Rob Haynes, right now in position 7. All right, ladies and gentlemen, look at some of these lap times. Rob Haynes going down to 48, 6.84. In comparison to Mark Bose pulling down a 51, 4.62. And right now they are 3 seconds back. A minute ago they were 9 seconds back. Now they are 3 seconds back. Everett Lane, Jay Dargett, and company tearing down onto the leader, Mark Bose. Right now they are within 3.7 of a second. Right now, Everett Lane, Jay Dargett, Dustin Markham, Edward Bray bearing down on Mark Bose, trying to get him. I'm pretty sure they're going to get him. The more drivers you have in the pack, you heard about more the merrier here at Talladega, the more the faster. Right now, down to 1.9. Dustin Markham, a 1.9 coming down. Caution is out. Caution is out as... Looking at the caution coming out, it does appear the number 33 33 of Dustin Markham. Dustin Markham getting a little bit too much of a boost from Everett Lane in the number 24. Dustin Markham in the number 33 going for a spin. No other traffic involved. That's a good thing. But backing it up on that GW graphics replay, Everett Lane just wow. You know what? I don't even think Everett Lane touched him, ladies and gentlemen. You look at that and you decide. But I tell you what, that was hair and a biscuit right here. That was classic hair and a biscuit. The number 33 of Dustin Markham getting loose. Left-hand turn. I did not believe Everett Lane touched him, folks. Nonetheless, that will possibly take Dustin Markham out of the equation. Fortunately, no other drivers involved. Wow, I tell you what, that is a complete game changer here in race 4. Going to get these cameras locked up on the number 74 of Mark Bowes and the number 24 of Everett Lane. Now, what I'm expecting, ladies and gentlemen, I'm expecting Mark Bowes in the pit row, and I'm expecting Everett to stay out. I'm pretty sure Everett's got plenty of fuel. And there it is. Mark Bowes in the pit row. Mark Bowes going into pit row. Keeping cameras locked on. Mark Bowes. We did not think that Mark Bowes was going to be good on fuel. Mark Bowes going into pit row. Here on lap 92, going to give us a chance to get a driver interview in. Going to bring up my good friend, Rob Haynes. How about it, Rob Haynes? Have you got a copy?
Yeah, I do, Scott. How you doing?
I'm doing good. You guys are working me to death up here. Great racing out here. Right now, you're in position 4. Going to be looking about a lap, about a 5-lap shootout. Talk to me about your night so far, Rob Haynes.
Hey, it's been a good night, Scott. I'm happy to be up here in 4th. Looking forward to a good finish with KMA on All Pro Broadcasting here, and I got some teammates around me, and it's been a challenging night, but been some fantastic racing. Scott, you got to agree.
Alrighty, well, I'll tell you what I found most exciting, we had our race leader up there, Mark Bowes up there, was actually pushing the lap traffic of Donald Stewart. You had lap traffic down there working with y'all. Y'all were 19 seconds back. Y'all caught up with him. And Mark Bowes not good on the fuel strategy. Are you good on fuel? Is Steve and Everett, are your teammates good on fuel?
Yeah, 10-4, Scott. We're good on fuel. Pitted there with, I think, about 27 to go. Lap 72, I think. Somewhere in there, 72, 73. We're good to go, Scott. So looking forward to a green flag run here to the end.
Alrighty, good luck to you tonight, Rob Haynes, and you and the brothers over there at KMA Racing. Gives us time for one more interview. We have not talked to Jay Dargett tonight. Jay Dargett right now in the number 38 in position 3. How about it, Jay? Have you got a copy?
Yes, sir, Scott. How's it going?
Doing great. Now, I am very impressed with you, sir. You chose not to qualify. You started back there in position 36. I actually believe you were the last driver on the start. And lordy, right now you are in position 3. Was this your plan?
Nope, actually I got in here and was kind of hanging out and it was asleep at the wheel. I actually had to start in the pits, went a lap down in the first, 10 laps or so, and got the lucky dog and slowly chiseled my way back to the front. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe I ought to do it that way more often.
All right, so let me get this straight. You came in here, you fell asleep at the wheel, you lost a lap, started last, and now with 4 to go, you're in position 3. Wow. Yes, sir. I do not condone sleeping at the wheel, but I tell you what, brother, you got it going on. Anybody you want to give a big shout out to tonight?
No, all the KMA guys. It's been a good time, man. I enjoyed getting home and racing with everybody in here. So great times with everybody. I appreciate it, Scott. Thank you. You're the big shout out.
All righty, real quick, I do want to talk real quick about that paint job you got out there supporting our new President Trump. Who painted that up to you? Are you a painter yourself?
Oh no, I Yeah, hell, I can't play tic-tac-toe, so I just borrowed this one off Trading Paints. I think it's one of the guys out at KMA that painted it.
I would not know for that for sure, but nonetheless, okay, appreciate you out there showing your support as an American. All righty, good luck to you tonight, Jay.
Yes, sir. Semper Fi, everybody.
All righty, wow, interesting situation right there. Jay Dargett, starting position 36, sleeping at the wheel, missed the start, won a lap down, and right now in position 3. Alrighty, amazing story right there. Jay Dargett could be our sleeper. Alrighty, fans out there on that All Pro Broadcasting chat channel, it is time to get your bets on, get your favorite drivers out here. Right now, Rob Haynes getting a little bit of love out there. Becky, Kristen, talk to me about who you think is going to bring her home tonight. Michael Lawler, talk to me about what you're thinking. Word on the track, ladies and gentlemen, going to give you some inside information here. Right now, Everett Lane, Steve Dutz, very good friends. Jay Dargett, going to stay close to anybody he can. Rob Haynes, Edward Bray, Dustin Markham, Jason Russo, Mark Jackson, Gary Whitmer. KMA drivers dominating out here tonight on that outside lane. I tell you what, Everett Lane, Steve Dutz. We have got a jokester out there on that channel. His pick to win is first place. Well, I'm going to lay some money down on that as well. I bet you first place will win it tonight. But the question is, will it be Everett? Will it be Steve? Will it be Jay? Will it be Rob? Ladies and gentlemen, my personal bets will be on the number 66, Edward Bray. I do believe the Reaper can get her done tonight. My secondary choice will be Everett Lane. All right, tell me, do you agree or disagree with me? We are on lap 95 of 100. 5 cautions, 39 lead changes. These drivers have worn me out tonight. What a great race here in race 4 of the Friday night flights. All righty, getting onto this restart. Jay Dargett needs to tighten her up a little bit. Getting onto the rear end of the number 24 pace car is in. Jay Dargett needs to tighten her up. Get on there, tighter than a hair in a biscuit. Jay Dargett actually laying back on that inside lane. Edward Bray going to fix that remedy right now. Get a little budge. Number 14, Jason Russo, giving a little budge to Edward Bray, and there we go. Away we go. There goes the number 25, Steve Dutz, chasing that proverbial runaway donut. Right now, 24 and 25 sitting at 1 and 2. Sounds like some Las Vegas odds right there. 24-25, side by side. Positions 1 and 2, Everett and Steve. Second and third and fourth belonging to Jay and Rob. But look at that outside lane goes, keeping cameras focused on our race leaders. 25, Steve Dutz on that outside. 24, Everett Lane on the inside. Side by side, great racing. We are on lap 96, 4 to go. Ladies and gentlemen, great racing here at Talladega. Steve Dutz side drafting off of Everett. Fast lane racing. What will Rob Haynes do? Right now, we do know that the number 38 of Jay Dargett, he has got no choice but to push on the rear end of the number 24, Everett Lane. Jason Russo, Edward Bray, no choice but to stay in line. This inside lane is locked and loaded, but look at the number 35 of Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson trying to go to that outside lane. Mark Jackson all over the rear end of Dustin Markham. Dustin Markham pushing on. Rob Haynes pushing on. The number 25 contact with the number 38. 38 off track. Save it there, 38. Jay Dargett, save it, brother, save it. He has saved it. What a save by Jay Dargett. Back up into the front, contact with the number 33, Dustin Markham. 3 wide with Rob Haynes. There goes the number 25 contact, 84-66. Number 84-66 caution will be out. Ladies and gentlemen, what a finish tonight as the number 25. Well, let me back up these cameras. Ladies and gentlemen, I do not want to call it wrong. We're gonna look at this as the number 25 as the number 25 of Steve Dutz did drift. As the number 25 of Steve Dutz did drift down into that lane, but we saw Everett F. Lane dropping one lane, dropping below the yellow lane, and bumping into the number 25 of Steve Dutz. Unfortunate break for the number 24 of Everett Lane and the number 66 of Edward Bray and Jason Russo and Mark Jackson. Mark Jackson into Ryan Kuhn, but Jason Russo actually will save it tonight. I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, one more time, going to go back and look at that. That was balls to the wall racing. One more time, looking at that as Everett Lane trying to get up underneath the number 25 of Steve Dutz, but looking at Everett Lane trying to get underneath the number 25 of Steve Dutz, and Everett Lane getting the brunt of that situation. Alrighty, I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, that is going to wrap it up for the night. We're going to get some driver interviews in here, but that will seal the deal tonight here at Talladega. Joining us up in the booth is Jason Russo. How about it, Jason Russo?
How's it going, Scott?
I tell you what, I am out of breath, brother. What a finish tonight. I do believe that is our 6th caution, but I tell you what, that was some hard balls to the wall finish up there with Steve and Everett Lane. We're still looking at that replay, but talk to me about your race and your second third place podium finish tonight, Jason.
Really good race, actually. I thought the racing was really good. Some clean racing there in the beginning. Some good 3 wide. We were even 4 wide for a little while. I actually blew up, was able to get a back out car out here, stay on the lead lap, and bring it home third. So big shout out to all the people watching, all the fans, and All Pro Broadcasting. Obviously a big shout out to Pro Automotive. Good race.
All right, now copy that. Now, you did mention that you did blow her up, and we had those cameras locked and loaded on you on that broadcast where you did blow up. And I was actually talking. I was watching you duck out, and I said, all right, Jason Russo right now trying to duck out and get some air. And then, boom, no smoke, just you losing positions. What happened right there? How fast was that engine heating up?
Actually, not fast at all. I ran some testing during practice to see how far I could run with it overheating. I was doing 2 laps. That thing started flashing coming out of 2, not even halfway down the backstretch, and it blew up. So, just maybe it was running it too hot most of the night. Not sure, but either way, we brought it home third.
Congratulations, P3 for Jason Russo, 13th to 3rd. Great job, Jason Russo. How about it, Rob Haynes? Have you got a copy?
Yeah, 10-4, Scott. How's it going?
Alrighty, now you were position 27th up to position 2. Talk to me about your night, brother.
Yeah, it was a great race, Scott. Fantastic finish there. Glad I could get up to the front. I didn't expect to be up here, but you know what? Stranger things have happened, Scott. I'm just glad to be up here with my KMA brothers here, and I think we put together a good finish tonight and a good race.
Alrighty, copy that. Now talk to me one more time about shout-outs. You got anybody out here watching you?
Always my daughters. My 3 daughters are my life here, Scott, and I love them to death, and I hope they're watching. They probably aren't, but I hope they are. That's just kids, you know.
Alrighty, well, I'll tell you what. Go on and tell us their names, and then you tell them, hey, on the last part of the replay, check us out. Who are your daughters out here, Rob?
Hey, Alexa, Kristen, and Danielle, shout out to you 3. You're my life, and I love you.
All right, you're going to have to definitely have the daughters listening out onto that one there. Good job tonight, Rob Haynes, 27th to 2nd. How about it, Steve Dutz?
Hey, how are you?
I'm good. I tell you what, I want to talk about that last lap right there with you and Everett. I tell you what, I'm still looking at that replay, and you know, you were free and clear right there, brother, but unfortunately, Everett actually dropped 2 lanes below that yellow line for that split second right there, Steve. Back us up 2 seconds and talk us through that.
Well, it was a bit crazy. It was, I thought I cleared him because the spotter said clear, and I was like, oh, this is now or never to move down, so that's what I did. I just put her down and hoped it would work, but tough break for the 24. It's just really hard to, but I don't know what to say after that. It's just, it is going to be mixed emotions of everybody saying you came down or you didn't, and it's just, it's going to be one wild ride is what I would say.
Well, I tell you what, Steve, we have got a great replay sponsor, GW Graphics, and I'm going to tell you real quick before we sign out what I saw. At the point in time, you did come down. You were like, you were there. I think you were clear, but on the same token, I'm going to tell Everett, well, I thought you were clear too, brother. But unfortunately, Everett did drop two tires down below that yellow line. Steve Dutz winning it fair and square. Final shout-outs for you, Steve Dutz.
Oh, I want to thank Blaze Pizza for sponsoring this whole thing. You guys over the booth. Oh my god, I've been wanting to win one of these. But, my mom, my dad, I know they're watching somewhere. They're probably cheering up and down, for all I can say. My brother, everyone out here, KMA, DWC, everyone here tonight is it's just amazing. I'm lost for words right now.
Alrighty, copy that. Steve Dutz bringing her home tonight in race 4 of 20. Good job, Steve Dutz.
Thank you.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to wrap this up tonight here at race 4 of the Friday Night Series. Steve Dutz, Rob Haynes, Jason Russo. Check us out back on Monday and Tuesday for our Monday Night Mania, and Tuesday Night Trucks, Wednesday and Thursday. Domino's TYJ, and back on Friday for Race 5, and on Saturday, the Drive for Dementia Awareness. Big race coming up 1 week from tomorrow. Check out All Pro Broadcasting on Facebook and on that World Wide Web. Give them a big thumbs up. Check out KMA Racing. And we will see you next time. Mike D'Amico on camera, Scott Kolovic on the mic. Thanks for watching, gentlemen. We are out of here.
Smithley, driver the number 0, JD Motorsports Chevrolet, and you're watching All Pro Broadcasting.